Well, we have a majority of our roster back from last year, which is in many ways advantageous for us. I think it gives us some of the experience, which is a huge factor in this conference, night in, night out, having guys who've kind of been through the conference schedule, understand how important it is that you're ready night in, night out to play. The level of competition, the level of coaches in this conference is extremely high. So I think that is one of the positives, is that we do have the majority of our roster back. We do have a few additions that I think will help us in key positions to give a better showing than what we did last year. You know, last year was a very difficult year for us. Not a great record, some very difficult losses, but I was very proud of the way our guys competed. Continued night in, night out to give a great effort to represent the university and our program. Well, it's going to take blending this group together. We've got, like I said, a few new additions. At the point guard position, we've got two new players in Javis Flynn and Dakota Jones, who I think will add a nice blend to our group, along with Lamine Diang inside. I think those three will really bring kind of what we needed, the missing ingredients to last year's team. So I'm very excited to have those three added to our roster. But this schedule, our non-conference schedule, we set it up to make it very difficult, which I think will mirror league play and how difficult it is. So I think our non-league schedule, especially on the road, the level of teams that we're playing, I think will be very beneficial to us. Well, our seniors always play a very important role on our team. You know, we always look to them for leadership, for guidance, to bring the younger players along, the new faces on the team along, and understand our culture and what we're about. As I mentioned, last year was a difficult year, but I think it also made us more hungry going into this season to prove that we're a better team and that we've got better players than possibly our record show last year. So you look at Sam. Sam's had a great 4-year career for us. You know, he's going to be greatly missed after this season, but last year set the three-point field goal percentage record for Pittsburgh State University basketball all time. We're going to need him this year to hopefully build on that and repeat that. That would be nice. You mentioned Devon Branch, who was an all-conference player, averaged around 20 points a game, another senior leader that I thought had a fantastic year. You know, night in, night out, kind of one guy you could key on. You stop him, you kind of stop us, but was still able to create offense and make his teammates better at the same time. He's really a very unselfish player. And I think asking him what we asked of him last year to score that much really, in some ways, allowed him to expand his game, but at the same time, that's not what he's best at. He's a very well-balanced player. You look at our other two returners, Alex Williams, who I thought came on at the end of the year, gave us good minutes, and played a role for us as a four-man, and the other player, Connor Kerr, who was his first year last year. I thought at the end of the year, another kid who showed some toughness, able to shoot the three-point shot as a four-man, kind of stretch defenses. Is going to be another key for us with his experience from last year. The roles that some of our kids played last year are going to change. Jake, for example, had to play the point guard for us last year. Devon also played that position. With the addition of Javis Flynn, Dakota Jones, now they're going to move off the ball, and so their roles are going to change a little bit. And I think there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment there, you know, learning a new position, kind of a new role on the team. Jake Bullard especially, but Jake last year I thought exemplified what we're about. You know, he's just a tough kid, brings it every night, never got too high, never got too low, very steady, ultra competitive young man. He will be a very, very important part of our success this year. I think you look at Sam. You know, Sam's ability to shoot the ball and stretch defenses. You know, another one who his role won't necessarily change, but we need him to be consistent based on what he was able to do last year. Josiah Gustafson's another one. Josiah, I thought, had a great freshman year. Probably worked as hard as anybody on our team over the off season and then into the summer and then into this preseason to get himself ready for this year. And it showed in early practices how ready he is. And I think he'll be one of those guys that Pittsburgh State fans and people across MIAA will enjoy watching, and it will definitely be a threat, someone you have to contend with on our team. So you look, those guys are very, very important. Getting Denton Hayes back after a hiatus of a semester, and he was a little rusty coming back second semester last year, but another young man I think that's worked hard to put himself in position to help us this year. And you can't go without mentioning Trevor Gregory, who had the inside duties for us last year as a postman as a freshman, coming off a high school ball and coming into MIAA and playing inside. I thought he did a very commendable job. Showed that he's a very competitive kid, very tough, very physical, and did a great job for us. So, experience, like I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, is very, very important. It goes a long ways, and hopefully we can capitalize on that as a team. We do have some new players. Javis Flynn helped lead Pratt Community College last year to a berth at the National Junior College tournament. Just a pass-first true point guard. Never really had one of those before on our team here at Pittsburgh State. He is a guy who makes everybody around him better. He's really, really good in the open floor in transition, getting the ball where it needs to be, which complements Josiah, Devon, Jake, Sam. Those kind of guys will benefit from having a point guard like him. He's going to have to learn a little bit about our system and those kind of things, but so far early on he's done a good job of making that adjustment. Dakota Jones, who's a freshman from Warrensburg, Missouri, another one who I think has shown me signs, bits and pieces, flashes here and there of what he's capable of. More of a scoring point guard, but at the same time handles the ball extremely well, very explosive. Kind of a Russell Westbrook type point guard if you have to compare him to somebody who could really get to the rim, get to the paint, and make plays, and shoots it pretty well too. And then you add the last piece of the puzzle, our third kind of new guy who was actually here last year but had a medical redshirt due to a knee injury, is Lamine Diang, who will definitely complement our inside game. Trevor last year had a lot on his shoulders to take up the inside and do as much as he was asked to do. Lamine will definitely be one of those guys that can score it with his back to the basket. He is a very good athlete. He also protects the rim, defends the paint, very mobile for his size, but will be a nice addition in the paint for us, and can also step out and shoot a little bit. So those three, that's all we've really added from last year's team. We've got a couple walk-on red shirts that we're not planning on playing unless we have to. Lucas Wilson from Paola, and then Adrian Zarolo, who redshirted last year, who was here for a semester from Spain, is another one. Those guys have been great in practice, and so far, this early in the season, it's been good. It usually is. They're ready to go, but it's also, now we kind of get into the meat of what we're about, starting this week in practice and then heading into some scrimmages and in our exhibition game at Arkansas on the 13th of November. Well, obviously we want to improve on last year's record, but it may sound cliche, but you as coaching staff, we want to focus on the process. Are we getting better day in, day out? Are we cleaning up areas that are potential weaknesses for us? Are we finding ways to improve on those areas or possibly hide them if we have to? That's kind of our roles as coaches, is to build and accentuate the strengths of our team, which I think there's quite a few out there, and then obviously continue to work on some of our weaknesses and improve on those areas. But our goal is year in, year out to win conference and have a shot to go to the national tournament. I think every team has that goal, but we're going to attempt to take it one game at a time. I think these guys are extremely hungry. As long as they understand being hungry means being more disciplined, being more of a team, a closer knit team, a team that has role players on it as well as stars. You know, some of these guys are going to have to fulfill roles and help those guys who are going to carry the majority of our scoring load, our defensive end of the floor play, and play your role to the best of your ability. If we can do that, I think all the pieces to the puzzle are there. Now it's a matter of sitting down and putting all those pieces together.